Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Unravel Trading here. I hope you guys had a great trading day. So, today I traded Tesla, NVDA, and Netflix late in the day, and I ended the day green with about $37,900. Today was by no means an easy day, especially at market open. It was very, very tricky. And I'm sure that a lot of us, including me, right, after yesterday's close, we're all thinking of playing the downside, playing rejects, or waiting for rejection to happen and then buy puts, right? That was part of my plan, but then I didn't want to have that kind of bias because, come on, usually what happens is days gap down days like today you usually see a dead cat bounce, and if uh, if there was a lot of shots there could be a potential squeeze play as well, right? Especially after 4 or 5 down days, there's always a chance that on the day when everyone's bearish market decides to rally. So I had that in the back of my mind, and so I just decided to shelve my plan and watch the market open. I was just watching two or three stocks. I was watching Apple, I was watching Tesla, I was watching NVIDIA, right? And I was watching the indices. That's all I was watching. I just wanted to wait for a market to open and then decide whether I'm gonna go long or short. So I had levels to play both sides, and I played it long today. So I played Tesla calls, NVIDIA calls, and late in the day Netflix calls for a bounce when that news dropped. So let me review those trades today and go from there. All right, let's go. So let me start with Tesla, right? So Tesla, I took a bounce off of 1015. So I didn't trade the first 5 minutes. I traded the second 5 minute. The market opened. Tesla opened strong, pretty much bouncing off of 998, which was the pre-market low. Tesla bounced off of 998. It was a clean opening drive play, and it got rejected off of 1030, which was an area where there were a lot of sellers because it was close to yesterday's low, and it rejected off of that, and then it formed a base. Bids were holding very well off of this 1015, so that's why I entered my play here. I had the backup of adding more at 1010. I thought I would get a dip to 1010, but 1015 is where I got my contracts, and I held on to the position for actually longer than I wanted to. I actually wanted to trim around this 1030 area, but then I saw that price action was very, very strong, and so I decided to hold for a bit. But then once it hit this 1040 area, I saw that there was a lot of struggle with price action. I knew that the 1040 area was going to be very tough, right? So I took my profits here, and then it pretty much started to chop around. And the rest of the day, this 1040 area was a huge congestion area. A lot of people wanted to sell. I'm pretty sure this drop over here caused a lot of pain, but then it pumped again and hit the same area, and then got rejected off of 1050 again. Now, if Tesla can take out 1050, 1060, this area, right? It could go on Monday, so it looks good. But again, Tesla's by no means strong, and by no means it's weak. It's just trading in range. So once the overall market decides to reverse, Tesla would just follow that, right? So that's Tesla. Let me go to the trading view chart first, and let's break this down. Okay, so let me first go to the 4-hour chart. I want to show you guys something. So first thing why I wasn't bearish on Tesla was there was this small trend line that was forming, and pre-market we bounced exactly off of this 998, which was an area of confluence, right? So we bounced off of that. My hope was we retest this area and then just take off trapping bears, or if this trend line breaks, this 998 breaks, we could have had a drop to 980. So that was my bearish play. I wanted 980 to flush and then trade the reject, but that didn't happen. But on the bullish side, let me go again to the 5-minute chart, right? uh, Pre-market bounce, held through, solid open. We rejected off of the first 5 minute, we rejected off of this area here, around 1020, right? So I took my trade around 1015, which was this area. So the conviction really Uh, I really had the conviction to take this trade because of the strong VWAP reclaim here, right? So usually what sign you want for playing a reject is you want to see struggle around the VWAP area. But once market opened, this drive was really strong. And if you took AMU, you know that the first 5 minute candle is the sentiment candle, right? So the first 5 minute candle is strong. Chances are very high that we're going to see continuation. And I just took it a bounce off of this area here, just around VWAP and the moving ADMA, and I held the position, took profit around 1040, right, in this area, and then we started to chop around, right. Again, you could have made money if you taken the reject, but if you shorted around 1030 around this area, right, you would have lost money. You had to have short around 1040 to have made money, and even then price action wasn't clean. Shot at 1040, and then it popped again to 1046, and then it dropped, $8 drop. That wasn't really significant. The value was to the upside, right? So I caught a $25 move here on next week contracts. I made like close to 40%. But this move, it wasn't a clean price action. Premiums were crushed here, right? And rest of the day there was just struggle. I mean, it wasn't bearish, it wasn't bullish. I called a downside play below 1025, and late in the day it had a $5 drop before again it eventually reclaimed that area and closed near the highs. So yeah, that's Tesla. I'm glad that I wasn't too bearish on Tesla or tried to play reject or anything. I mean, Tesla is probably the last stock that you want to be bearish on a reversal day, right? So it happened to me like I think probably 1 or 2 months ago, where it flushed the 1,000 and then made an $80 move. So you don't want that to happen to you, right? So yeah, so this is Tesla, and the next trade I took was NVDA. So NVIDIA, I was actually late to the party. So NVIDIA again had a very weak close yesterday. Pre-market was around 260, strong bounce, and the reversal continued through the open. I should have taken it around 266 area, but I didn't. I let it break the pre-market highs and then took it on a dip. So this was my first trade. The first trade was actually a panic buy and a panic sell. So I didn't make a lot of money on that. So I bought it here, and then I had to hold for a couple of minutes before just selling for a small profit. But then I knew that there was weakness in the bids, so I waited. The same 268 area, which was the pre-market high, was holding. So I bought my next trade here, and I made close to three and a half dollar move. I took profits here. This was my biggest trade on Nvidia, and then we had a sell off at this area. So this 272, 273 area was the rejection area from yesterday. So there was a lot of supply. So I took profits before that could happen. Again, 268 again held. This was like a triple bottom forming. I took profits this time around. I wasn't confident we were going to test because it looked like I had again a head and shoulders forming. So this was the shoulder, the head, and another shoulder. So I was kind of scared that this was going to just dump like this, like the way AMD did in my previous video, right? So I just took my profits and then risked it. It did happen, except that it became a double top instead of a head and shoulder, and started selling off late in the day, right? So that was NVIDIA. Let me again jump to the trading view charts here. So this was the level that I should have gotten on 266, but I didn't. I let it break, right? Once it broke and made a high, I got it around 268, which was around this area, right? So this is the area that I bounced. So it made a high, bounced here, took profits, bounced here, took profit, right? And those were my trades, right? So again, market is in a kind of a limbo area, and I'm pretty sure next week is going to be very tricky, especially the start of the week. We may get some upside moves, but then we want the indices and many of the growth names to also bounce back, or else the indices is just going to lose. Again, we may have a couple of dead cat bounce days and then more intense selling. So we got to be careful next week, especially the next 2 weeks, and see what the market does and then react. There's no use trying to predict all of these things, when it's going to be a bottom, when it's going to be a reversal, right? Because the market's going to do what it's going to do. It's up to us as traders to adapt to whatever the market throws at us, and survive. So yeah, so today was a tricky day, but yeah, so hoping now, but thankfully I'll be able to focus more on my trading next week. This week I was doing a bunch of family stuff. I was hanging out with my family. Next week I'll have some time, and I hope that I'll be able to bring my A game and make some good trades. Well, anyway, so that's all I have for you guys today. I hope you enjoyed this trade review. I'll try to make some other videos, maybe not this weekend, but next weekend I'll make some videos. I know that a lot of you want to see how I set up my charts, how I have my active trader set up, how to read level 2 and times and sales, how to play bounces rejects. I'll do some videos in the future on those topics. But until then, stay safe, do your learning, and I'll see you guys next time. Thank you. Have a good night and a great weekend.